Hello? Hello? Old Bill is tense, with hydrogen stretching its wet skin to an obscene size. The waves are heavy. It is up and down on all sides, one horizon, one massive line that encompasses everything. The ocean. Old Bill feels strange, scared, far from home. The wind is fast and whips across its stagnant skin, the heavy droplets and spume lubricating it. But there's plastic. Bill's plastic refuses to ever get wet, really. It ingests nothing of its surroundings. It can only be smeared with what covers it, but it can never ingest it. This plastic, his skin, Bill's skin, cannot take anything in, bless him. On his head is a hard and decaying hat made of high-density polythene, the same material shiny slides are made out of. You know that horrible thick stuff that's shiny in the playground, but really fucking warm, you know? Anyway. Old Bill was actually the last automated robot that Walt Disney worked on before his death in 1966. A role Walt seemed to get excited about towards the end. The Pirates of the Caribbean ride was his magnum opus. His last gasp, his cry to heaven. He was not hands-on, of course, but he managed it from afar, from a bed, from his bath. The main thing that Walt Disney was insistent on about this groundbreaking amusement ride was the integrity of truth the robots had to have. Old Bill needed to be flesh and bone, and if possible with soul and mind. Disney, or Walt, the man dedicated to fantasy and dreams, now came crashing down with some perverted realism. I prefer the made-up stories myself, but anyway. He insisted on every single robot having exact, perfect plastic replicas of the main organs, including, but not limited to, the lungs, heart, stomach, spleen, liver, kidney, bladder, brain, anus, and corresponding genitalia. So inside Old Bill here, floating in the middle of the ocean over the deepest part of the world, was these squelchy kitsch 1960s plastic replications of the heart, and now due to his bloated hydrogen-filled skin, an erect and deformed penis. Disney was obsessed. The organs were the lifeblood of the ride, he said. Legend has it that he had plans to insert his cryogenically frozen organs into Old Bill here himself, and place a replica of his death mask on top of the original face. Freeze himself into history or something. A pop culture alchemy of immortal life. Or a mass market death mask maybe. I don't know. He wanted to live forever in this amusement ride though. And the other main robotic statues in the ride also had these plastic organs, kitsch and naff and bodily like snot. Disney didn't want to end it there though, no. The other statues also had death masks, replications of other people he admired, but no one could ever recognise their faces. Odd. Anyhow, they couldn't keep them frozen because the ride had to be warm due to the Caribbean environment, you know, keeping up with the fucking whatever. Trying to keep it succinct. But imagine if our protagonist here had Walt Disney's heart, his diagram of soulhood. That'd be great. Bloody flesh, grey and red and old and used up, but in here with the shiny metal of the animatronics and the plastic synthetic skin of the skin. Old Bill's skin. But Old Bill was still here, squelching and squeezing and stretching into a shape unseen. He was floating lonely in the thick current. One of his lungs is down by his bladder now, because the shape of his abdomen has become completely morphed due to his body, becoming his life raft. His body turned out to be his saviour. Old Bill, just floating here. Old Bill, feeling wet for the first time, suddenly. Pirates of the Caribbean came out. Old Bill remembers standing in the dark, humid air, heavy, not moving. His animatronics breaking the sweaty atmosphere in two with large, jagged movements of his arms. He's in a warehouse in the heart of Disneyland, full of people floating past on boats, keeping the sterilized shallow water out. He feels their eyes slowly unfold on him and their gaze disappear silently as the ride continues. He realizes he is finished. His moment in the sun is gone. He is old and forgotten. Captain Jack is the new protagonist. The kids no longer care for Old Bill here. It bears a striking resemblance to the storyline of Toy Story 1, but different. Here he is not alive. He has no secret life when he's not seen. He simply is the materials he is. Plastic and metal, a constant bit of stuff. Despite this fact, his heart begins to sag in some capacity, and his stomach drops too. Just a coincidence, I imagine. Wear and tear. This is not a metaphor, I promise. Without purpose, the material he is, or was, began to fade, slowly beginning to rust and erode, his clothes slowly losing colour. He felt like a smear. His molecules slowly eradicated from one form to many. They were splitting, disappearing into new beings. In some way, he was pining for the sea as his metal rusted away into the air, his heart and soul looking for that fabled freedom. Bless. The word smee, meaning to smear, stroke, wipe, or rub in a Proto-Indo-European language, directly links for a few thousand years to the word mirage in English. This is according to etymologygeek.com. Mirage is a smear of light, but it is a light nonetheless. A mirage is a smear of light, but it is light nonetheless. Here in 2007, where Old Bill feels fatigued with being seen, he suddenly stops being noticed. He was a mirage somehow, and now in the ocean, with his body as life raft, material all that he ever will be. He sees a ship and thinks about that day, that smear, his moment as mirage, and witnesses what must be a mirage too. A ship approaches. The Flying Dutchman, perhaps, from the film, from the myths, a Fata Morgana, an Arthurian tale. Smee, smear.